Right, let's bring in some of our scans and get them lined up.
Hey, welcome to Real Time Workflows. I'm MX Bell. I worked on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 1917, Hobbs and Shaw, Wheel of Time, Little Mermaid, No Time to Die, tons more. What you're going to get in the channel are my pro tips and how I use Unreal Engine to make films. So let's get started. Let's make some stuff. See you down the road.
So we can see here I've already imported a lot of the British ones. So we've got some more to import though. I have them kind of sat here. So I can see the ones that I didn't do with just the German ones, I think, the ones that are left. So I'm going to bring those in now. So I'm going to arrange them roughly in these in this structure, so that everything kind of matches up. So I've got a few to do. So new folder would be German main trench. And the way to do this now, because I've started building them out from this side over, so this is a scan of no man's land. And obviously it's not complete. We're going to fill these gaps in with geometry and stuff. But we can see here this is part of the German trench. So we're going to line our other scans up with this one where possible. I can obviously add cesium to this, but to double check. But I want to be sparing with it because it is crashing the computer, or I believe it's what's crashing the computer. If this crashes when I've not run a cesium, then cesium can go back in the good books. But for now, I think it's the thing that's crashing. So let's do it without. Therefore, using my knowledge of this area, because obviously I was the one that scanned this, this is the German fire trench here. So this is the next one I want to do. We're going to build it out in pieces and line them up together. So building out from the German fire trench makes sense. So let's go German fire trench. And I'll drag this over here and drop it in. We want to allow it to create materials. Yes, everything else is correct, I believe. I'm gonna also turn on combine meshes, combine static meshes, just in case it comes in. No Man's Land came in as 2, and it doesn't need to be for me. I want them as 1, so we'll import that. So it comes in with 3 basic objects. Obviously the material for the fire trench, the texture goes in the material, as we've covered in the other lesson about basic materials. So we know that's the case, and we'll drag it in here. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me just make sure I've got my trench scans level open. So drag it in here and click yes, yes. And we also know that we need to resize it, don't we? So I've got the other one sized at 1. So what I need to do is, let's go to German fire trench. I'm going to open this and we'll set our import scale to be 100. So re-import mesh with dialog, and then we get uniform scale. There you go, 100. Right, okay, fine. So now we have our German fire trench. That's what it looks like. Let's just zero out its rotations. I've also got them all under a single mover. As you all know, I like movers. I like control. I like to be able to move anything really. I want to have levels of control where possible. So I'm going to put it there. So we're going to bring it down. We can kind of see where it lines up here. I'm kind of going to do this by eye, I think. Is the best way to go. So that's that bit, I think. There we go. And we'll be able to see how far we're off because it's, yeah, so we can sort of see. So I'm going to move the pivot. Remember about moving the pivot? Yeah. Move the pivot and pivot, set this pivot offset, and then I can rotate it from this point and line it up around there. And that feels a bit more like it. It is very small in there, so that's probably right. It's not a very good scan though. I didn't do a very good job with scanning it, that one, but never mind. I'm going back there soon. I'll do some more scans. So yeah, that feels about right. We are going to trim off some of this bullshit around here as well at some point soon. Yeah, I think that feels right. Okay, so that's our German fire trench. So then just here is where it goes off into the main trench. I think that's probably the next one I want. So main trench, German main trench, main trenches. Okay, and we need to set this to 100. Click import. There it is. So 2 materials this time on a static mesh. That must be, it must have merged 2 static meshes, I guess. So zeroed out the rotations. Let's bring this up to see what we're looking at. I know this doesn't mean much to you looking at it, but I've been there, so I do know what I'm looking at. That's into the fire trench there. So let's spin it around. Now you can see this on the cesium model. You can obviously see this, but I'm hesitant to use cesium at the minute, just in case it crashes. I want to get a good kind of run of video done without it crashing. We can always adjust with cesium on in a bit once I've got everything in and working. So let's just check here. I think that we're definitely going to want to put the pivot point here. So we're going to put the pivot point like where we know that we're going to be pivoting from. Obviously, it says pivot. So that is, there's a sign there, look. And I think it lives. Yeah, I think that's it there. So I think that goes like that. And we're going to, again, we'll trim all these up so that they fit and everything. Okay, so then we're going to there. Yeah, that feels right. So I'm going to keep pushing it until it goes into the... See there? See that? That's definitely right. That's definitely the right thing. Maybe it's this way a touch. Okay, so then that feels right. And now here's our trench now, the German trench. We've got a whole scene in here, which is fun. You can come down here. Then that's our German dugout. So we can definitely go and get our German dugout. let's start cleaning up from the fire trench. And the way to do that, I'm going to out of no man's land as well. No man's land. So we can kind of see, like, what we want to do is get rid of anything that's got this kind of beigey kind of this kind of not got a photographic texture. It's kind of just got a colour, and we want to try and get rid of those. There's a few ways to do it. We can come to modeling mode and go to model, mesh, and we can go try select, and we can lower our brush size right down, and then we can go in and we can start selecting triangles that we're going to delete. And they're kind of arranged into these groups, and hopefully a lot of your scans, the errors in the scans will be confined to these kind of groups as well, hopefully. So we can brush select them like that to get rid of them and hit delete. Okay, we can use slightly, if there's a big area you want to delete, we can use slightly bigger brush. So make sure we've got it so we're not leaving polygons hanging around. Delete on that, and then get the rest. Which is always a possibility. You can always just hit delete and then pick up there. Let it come back and then grab the rest. You might get the odd stubborn one. Okay, let's get rid of it. Click accept. Now it's important to note that what we just did edited our source model. Okay, so if we were to let's try it on a different piece. So I'm gonna duplicate my German fire trench over here, right? So a separate version of it. I'm gonna edit this one. We don't want all this stuff here, so let me go triangle select, and we'll grab all these. Okay, I hit delete and accept. It's deleted it from this one as well, okay, because it's deleting it from the source object. If you don't want it to do that, I mean, the way to reset it would be to re-import with new file, and I think that should reset it. But you could also bring the file in again, obviously, and then replace the object, and then drop that one in onto the one that you're using. Interesting. Interesting, since I edited it, fucked the thing up. Okay, the way to fix that, the way to stop that, I mean, let's delete that one. Let's say we're going to work on the fire trench, and we're gonna duplicate and call it edit. So now if we then drop our new static mesh onto our old one, now we're editing this one. Okay, so now, for example, if I were to bring this out, and I'm going to replace this one with my original. So now I've got this one is my original, and this one is my edit. I'm going to go triangle select. We'll grab these because they're all kind of, you know, melty and weird. Okay. So we don't want those either. Let's just say, for example, okay, and then delete and accept. Notice it hasn't done it over here because that's the original one. It's done it in this edited one. So if you want to keep your originals, I would do that. I tend to like to do that. I don't know why, just in case I feel like I've deleted something. I don't want to think I can't ever get it back. So I'm a little bit weird like that. But you know, you guys, you know, do whatever you think is right for you. I know I've got a lot of shots here, so I want to be quite accurate. I've clicked on the wrong thing, so triangle select. You should be able to do it. model. So I'll grab these. It is a shame that you can't see them, but it's just this outer one with the curved edges. If you just get rid of those, you're generally going to find the model looks a little bit better and a little bit more accurate. It has deleted some stuff, look, but hey, look, I can't have everything, right? I've got the ability to change, to add custom geometry to this, so I'm not overly worried. The big problems lie in when you get to a point where there's an overlap, okay? So when one object meets another one. So for example, here, we know that this bit exists inside the other. In fact, all of that exists. From there out, we don't really want any of that. That was the end of the model. When I scanned it, I was always like scanning it with the idea that like I need to have some overlap because I'm going to line them up. So one of the things we can do here is we can go plane cut. Okay, and the plane will be over here, right? So we'll bring it, so just so you can see the plane, we rotate it. Let's put a rotate snap on. Okay, so we rotate the plane. Rotate the plane so it's 90 degrees and then bring it over here, and you can kind of see what's happening. It's everything that's on that side of it is staying, everything that's in this side of it isn't. So what we do is, that's not quite 90 degrees, is it? So what we want to do is find a place to cut it where it's kind of keeping what we want. And actually, so let's have a look. Yeah, so we definitely want to we don't want to leave that gap, right? So we want it to come out over here, but we also don't want it to spill out into this. So I'd say it's probably about there. And just check around, but that seems fine. Accept. And now we've just sliced all that bit off, which has made this much cleaner. Okay. So we need to do that to particularly the overlaps, and the task now is to just go through and do this with everything. So I'll get on with that and check back in shortly.